Okay. Let me try to echo some of this back and see where I get to. So the old view was that space-time was this fixed fabric, this theater on which everything played out in the cosmos. Einstein comes in, says it's not like that. There's actually a conformity between action and matter and energy and space-time, right? We know mass bends space and time, and acceleration changes the effects of space-time, et cetera, et cetera. And so the rise over run, which I guess is derivative,
Yeah.
right? That's the first derivative. This is a ratio of movement across space and time. It's how we define movement, actually. It's even speed itself, right? It's change in position over change in time. I guess I'm saying that correctly. How quickly you move across space over a given amount of time. It's a ratio. To tie this to economics, prices are ratios of exchange expressed in money, which is just the universal language of economic numeracy. And that's done, I mean, it emerges naturally, but it's done as a cognitive expedient because it's a lot easier to talk about things and perform economic calculation. Actually, it's only possible to perform economic calculation in money versus trying to tell me how many tables a chair costs and, all the endless exchange ratios.
Yeah. When you tell an economist that's like comparing apples and oranges, they say, so.
Exactly. And so that clearly points to the importance of money. And now just to speak to the marginal revolution of value, as I understand it, before, and this is in the 1870s, I think. So this is relatively new. Before the marginal revolution, there was a belief that individual objects had intrinsic value, or these units of utils. So there were a number of utils in a wagon, a number of utils in a house, and the actual trading value of those was some objective relationship between the two. Marginal revolution comes along and says, no, there is no cardinal number of utils or whatever these elementary particles of value are. All there actually is preference, right? Each market actor has preferences, ordinal preferences, not cardinal, meaning that you can't assign a number. You can't say this house is 100 and this wagon 70. It's all about this market actor prefers the house to this number of wagons. They have a rank ordered list of preferences. So it's an ordinal list instead of a cardinal list. And this was the subjective revolution, right? There is no objective value. It's all subjective to the market actor's preferences.
It's an interesting point. Economics refers to cardinal versus ordinal utility theory, as you state. And I think John Stuart Mill and company were associated with actually coming up with units, so real numbers to measure just how happy or sad something makes you. Mm-hmm. I forget whether it was Pareto or Marshall, but fairly early in the 20th century, there was a lot of pressure to drop this as an uninvestigable concept. Like, yeah. You can self-report that it made you 7 utils happy, but how do we really know? Yeah. How do we know that your 7 utils are my 7 utils, et cetera, et cetera? The funny thing about that, though, is that it was retained in one place. So if you happen to have a probabilistic situation because of the Bernoulli solution to the St. Petersburg paradox, I don't know if you've ever encountered this thing. It's really important. Yeah. Somebody says, I'll tell you what, we're going to play a game. You tell me how much you want this game, and I'll tell you whether I'm willing to play it with you. We're going to flip a coin. If it turns up tails, you get nothing. If it turns up heads, we go again. If it turns up tails after that, you'll get 1 coin. If it turns up heads, we go again. Then you'll get 2 coins or 4 coins or 8 coins, etc., up until the point where you finally get the flip that gives you a payout and ends the game. Now, if you calculate the expected return of that game, so what is the sort of the probabilities times the prizes and sum that up, it should seem like you should pay effectively an infinite amount of money for the privilege of getting that payout from that game. Mm-hmm. And yet there's a 50% probability you're going to get nothing. Mm-hmm. And there's a 1/4% probability that you're going to get 1 coin. So try to imagine somebody comes to you and says to you, hey, you want to play this game? And you do the calculation and it looks crazy. So the solution of that was you don't add up the probabilities times the payouts. You add up the probability times the subjective cardinal value of the payouts.
Mm-hmm.
And because your first dollar allows you to get something to eat, and your next 100 allows you to clothe yourself, and another 50 allows you to find a roof over your head for a night. Those first dollars are far sweeter than the billionaire's first 150,
right?
Because it doesn't make much of an impact. And so we would say that that's the declining marginal utility of money, which we allow in a probabilistic problem, and then we forbid it everywhere else in economics, which sort of shows you that something a little funny is going on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing that when summed doesn't give you an infinite amount. The fact is that those very remote possibilities of huge payouts are valued much less than the likelihood that you're going to get nothing for whatever you pay for this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
There's one more thing, which is that what we assert that no one has ever challenged us on, it's hard to imagine, is that cardinal utility has the structure of something called a principal bundle over ordinal utility. And principal bundles are where gauge theories live in their most sophisticated formulation. So in other words, try to imagine that all of economics was taking place on an island. And for 150 years, nobody noticed that the island was actually a whale swimming around in the ocean. That's sort of how crazy this assertion is. And it's one of the reasons why I think it sounds grandiose and irresponsible to a lot of people. Are you telling me that nobody ever noticed that all of economics is based around the so-called representative consumer being a principal bundle, that utility theory forms a geometric structure the geometric structure of a gauge theory? And the answer is yes. I am saying that so far as I know, economics is based around a series of bundles and derivatives that make it one of the most beautiful geometric theories I think that we've ever encountered outside of pure mathematics and physics. And there is not even what I would say a generally competent group of economists to review the claim.